Howdy everybody. Having one of those days where I just got started working without thinking about the fact that I meant to record this. So last year I showed everybody how I take care of my Chicago Cold Hardy fig. Just because it says Cold Hardy doesn't mean that it doesn't take damage. It'll come back from the ground whether I take care of it or not, but all the branches will die. So after I have at least 2 frosts, they don't have to be full freezes will kill it, but 2 frosts puts the plant to sleep. And then I bury it in mulch. I'm going to link to an older video, or try to link to an older video to show you guys that process. But then when spring rolls around, we're getting to our last frost or 2. I dig out at least 2 branches. In this case, it was these 2. Whoop. Climbing over the mulch while it's still soft. But I pull them out because, again, light frosts generally won't kill it. But this way I can tell after the last frost date, when it starts leafing out, that means this plant is raring to go, it's ready. So at that point I go and I dig out the rest of the plant. So these 2 were just completely below the soil surface. The tips rotted off over winter. That's pretty normal, I find. I'm sure there's a way you can prevent it, but yeah, the tips have rotted off till they hit woodiness. But all this, there's green growth coming up at the base, so it's alive. So I'm just going to keep digging until I have this whole plant unburied, and then it'll do its whole life cycle this year. Hopefully we'll get figs. Last 2 years we just didn't have enough heat for long enough for it to actually produce any fruit. But this is going to be year 3. It's grown pretty big from the little stick it started as, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to pause and unbury the rest of the plant so you can see how big it is. See you in a minute. Alright, here we are. So you can see there's what was just a clump of really tight branches because they've been held down all winter. They're kind of a more spreading habit. From here, if you're growing along with me, if you're trying to grow one of these, you're kind of left with 2 choices. You can either just kind of let them come back up and treat it like a bush, and from there you just go ahead and hope that it can get along until it produces fruit. So that's an option. That's probably what I'm going with this year. But once you've got these sticks relatively thick, let's zoom in here, you know, relatively thick, not quite as big as my thumb, you can pin them to the ground and let them become a big thick trunk, because in a warmer climate, sorry I'm too zoomed in now, in a warmer climate figs can get as big around as a tree. But here, anything that's above the surface is going to die back. So if I want to get a big thick trunk that can get stronger and stronger, I can take some of these bigger branches and pin them to the ground and just bury the whole trunk every year. And then whatever shoots come up off it, I can treat just like I'm treating the whole plant right now. Bury the branches, dig them up, and when they start getting older and less productive, just cut them off and let the trunk create new ones. And you can treat it like that infinitely. That's something that's called the Japanese espaliar method. Mine is similar to that, except I'm not currently training a specific trunk for all these to come off of. They're just coming off of the base where it's been trimmed, and all these shoots will kind of come up. Probably more shoots will come up every year. Another thing you can do that I probably should do, and I may still do, is come back in with trimmers and trim out most of these. Really, you should probably only have 3 to 4 of these coming up. But I'm inexperienced with figs in general. I'm happy with experimenting, seeing what does and doesn't work. So I'll probably leave most of these, but I may thin out some of the thinner ones just to give it more focus on the stronger branches. But yeah, there's the basics of it. How do you treat a fig tree when it wakes up in spring? It's a bit of work. I wouldn't say it's a lot of work, but it's a bit of work. If you were trying to do this for an entire orchard, that's an astronomical amount of work, and to me wouldn't be worth it. But for one fig tree, because, you know, my parents or my mom hasn't had a fresh fig since she was young, she'd really like to have one again, I'm going to try my best to get a fig off of this tree at some point. So for me, one tree, I'd say they're self-fertile, but more of their they're not worried about fertilization. They'll form a fruit either way. So only one tree necessary. I'm going to keep trying. So hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm really excited for this tree to wake back up and show it off when I do my monthly garden walks. So I'll see y'all in another video as soon as I can. Goodbye, everybody.